Hey guys, I got Max here. Max, how you feeling about today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, in the middle of the tournament, it was really stressful. It was really close games, but towards the end, I felt really good, a lot more confident, and I'm glad that I made it this far. I got top four at the Fargo Regional in North Dakota, or fourth place, sorry, at the regional. Um, I'm really happy that I got this far. But we'll move straight into the deck list. So I played Primite Fiendsmith, the man, the myth, the legend. I played the Dippity, best card, best card in the deck. The fact or its stat line, not just light fiends, but also the fact that it's level 4 is really important because it means you can make Baguska or Chaos Angel, which I play both, and that came up multiple times in the tournament. Moving on to the Primate stuff, I played 3 barrel, 3 load, and a drill beam. It's pretty standard. It kind of sucks, or it happened twice, I think. I drew 2 barrels. One of the games I was going second, I drew 2 barrels in the Dippity, and that was really annoying. I just lost because of that. So that's why sometimes I sided out one of the barrels, just because I didn't have too many normal summons. Whereas opposed to load, it's not too bad if you draw multiple, because you can use one in your turn, get the drill beam set up, and then you can reveal the other one for drill beam, so you don't have to keep Dippity on the field, which is really nice. So this can be, you can turn like barrel and Dippity into Baguska, or use it for Fiendsmith plays, stuff like that. I was really happy with this stuff. We'll get into the Fiendsmith. So I played 3 Engraver, 2 Lacrima, 1 Worry, 2 Tracked, 1 Saint, and one of the Trapped Paradise. So the ratios may look a little bit weird. I played 2 Lacrima, and the main reason is just having the second one in the grind game is just really important. There were a couple games where I really needed the second one. There was one game in particular I was playing against Branded Draco Tail. I had Worry in a hand, I had Engraver, and because I had a second Lacrima, it meant that I could go for both Caesar and Desiree, because I used the Lacrima in hand and a monster on the field to make Fiendsmith's Lacrima, and then I was able to go full combo from there with the trap and graveyard. And we'll get into it later, but I played 2 Desiree, which meant it was even better because I didn't have the one stuck on field for that, so I can actually use this as an interruption.
And we see the one Sanct in there. Why did you decide to run the Sanct?
So the reason why I play Sanct is that in this version of Fiendsmith, you really don't have many pushes, so it's really important that Engraver has another target, because like if you have Engraver and Tracked and they ash the Tracked, or even if you have like a normal summon, or maybe not in that situation, but just having another way to get a Life Fiend without using your normal summon is just really important. There's there's a couple games where they ash the Engraver. I used Sanct, and that won me the game. I wouldn't change it out. It'll help me out today. The only downside with Sanct is that if you have Sanct as your 1-card combo, you can't end on Caesar and Lacrima with Requiem in the graveyard for your opponent's turn, because you're missing 1 White Fiend. So that's the only downside to this, but as another extender, I think it's worth it. Also, screw this card. I drew this a couple times. Fucking hate drawing this, but it's just really important for more interaction, so you just gotta play it, especially in this version of the deck. Moving on to hand traps. So I play more hand traps than engine. I'm playing 22 hand traps and 18 engine cards, because this is a low to the ground deck. You really need non-engine to slow your opponents down or enter that grind game state where you can take advantage of both the Fiendsmith and the Primite's recursion properties. So for hand traps and non-engine, the way I did it was really important. So we'll start off with 3 Ash and 2 Bell, some of the most popular. The reason why I play 3 Ash, a lot of people will tell you it's just standard, but and it is just because of how flexible it is. And in this deck, if you only have the Fiendsmith cards, it's really hard to play through Fool Loss, so you really need this to prevent your opponent from getting a lot of draws, because otherwise you give them one and you only end on Requiem into the trap, which doesn't do a lot. So, and then for Bell, I was originally trying 3 in the main. I did 1 on the side, and then I eventually just cut it, just because it's not as flexible as Ash, and most of the time this can't really hit a starter. But this is still really good in other ways. For instance, like this can protect your own plays if your opponent has graveyard hate. Like if they have D Crow, they have Bestials, maybe a Call by the Grave. This allows you to protect your stuff. And then also against like Brain and Draco Tail, you can hit the traps and stuff. Really solid. And you'll see later on, but there's a lot of hard ones to return hand traps where I only played 2 of them because I was really worried about drawing multiples. I don't think I drew, maybe except once, I didn't draw any duplicates of hard ones to return hand traps, and that was really important. It did happen for Engine, but for the most part, it wasn't too much of an issue. Moving on to some other standard hand traps, I played 3 Veiler and 3 Imperm and 2 DD Crow for non-once return. DD Crow is underrated, I think. There's a lot of stuff you can hit. It's really flexible. I mean, obviously, Bestials gets you a lot more value because you banish and you get a body on the field, which I play those, and I'll get to those in a bit. But DD Crow, like I played against Winlight. I banished the Polymerization when they activate the continuous spell to add it back, and then they can fusion summon by banishing materials. This was able to stop that. I used this against Lupus. I also used this against Vimena. I was really happy I played this. Also, it's a dark that you can banish for Bestials as well. Same with Veiler. And then Imperm is also just really good. None of these are once per turn, so drawing multiple is completely fine. Going first, a lot of the time, I would side out Imperm just because I was worried about board breakers and stuff. That's why I would keep the Veilers in, and then I kind of flipped it, maybe for 1 or 2 games where I took out some Veilers and they kept the Imperms, especially against like Vacant Soul Canine, because it doesn't trigger Lupus, Azuna, Ripper, stuff like that. And then you also can't use Veiler on your turn, so that was my thought process behind that. Moving on to some of the other hand traps. I played 2 Droll. Helps a lot. This card in this deck is really flexible because not only is this really good against something like Radiant Typhoon or many decks, to be honest, you can also use this to play under Fool Loss because you can Droll yourself. Like you have any Life Fiend go into Requiem, Droll yourself, and then do full Fiendsmith combo. That's one of the big advantages of playing a Fiendsmith deck, is that you really don't care about Droll unless you start with Engraver. Yeah, I was really happy I made this. It saved my butt a ton of times. Honestly, I was initially I was gonna play this in the side, but shout out to Adam. He's like, you should just play this in the main. So that definitely saved me against like Radiant Typhoon. I won the game because of that in the match. Then moving on to Nibiru. I played 2 Nibiru. I think I only used this once, maybe twice. I was pretty happy with it overall. Against like, unfortunately against like Vanquish Soul Canine and Draco Tail, it's not very good, so I usually side it out, but against some other decks, it wasn't that bad, so I was pretty happy with it. Especially since I only played 2, or that's another reason why I didn't play the 3rd one. It's also hard ones per turn, so. Moving on to the next ones. I played 1 apiece of Baldrake, Drew Swarm, and Magnamut. These cards are really good. It's like DD Crow, but better in a lot of cases, but they also serve a lot of different purposes, like I mentioned with DD Crow, that they can't do. one of the big things is that this allows you to push for game with the Fiendsmith cards, because on with Fiendsmith on its own, it's really hard to push for game, or a lot of times you don't have lethal. And then also because they're dark, this plus Adipity, Lacrima, you can make both a light and dark Chaos Angel, which can come up really good. Really happy about it. Unfortunately, I play against Rain Typhoon, Vagrant K9, and Draco Tail. So for those, I would side out all three, or at least a couple of them. But I'm so happy with putting these in the main. And then for my last two cards that are not hand traps, I played one piece of Talents and Call By. Now Talents maybe a little more debatable. You could put it in the side, but I was pretty happy with it. It gives you a lot of flexibility, because like you can look at your opponent's hand, see if they have any hand traps, or just take a monster if you need another body to make like sequence or something, or just draw two if you're really in a pinch. And then Call By the Grave, because this deck is really it's really efficient in hand traps, but you can make a lot of pushes. So even though it's efficient, I think it's still worth meeting the Call By the Grave. Also, you can hit 5 mana, stuff like that. And it's good going first or second. So that's why I decided to do that. Then moving on to the extra deck, I played 2 Requiem, Sequence, Agnum Day, Necroquip, Fiendsmith's Lacrima, and 2 Desiree. And then we'll go ahead and just put the Caesar, because this is majority of what the Fiendsmith is made to do. So the reason why I play 2 Requiem is just that it's really important in a grind game. There's a lot of times where you can't just recycle the one and you need another one to go into. Especially if you I didn't do that this tournament, but there's times where you have to banish your own Requiem for like a Bestial, for example, or if they've been banished one of the Requiems, having the second one is really important. I played 2 Desiree, and the main reason, it happened once a day where I made Desiree and then I had trapped in graveyard, so it allows you to send another Desiree to the graveyard in order to be another piece of disruption. And then obviously you have the Necroclip line for Caesar, which Necroclip is not only just good as a level 6 in order to make Caesar, but it happened one time today where I drew 2 cards off of Necroclip because I was always able to end on. And since you play so many hand traps, it's very likely you could proc its effect to draw a card. So that really helped me out that game. And then Agnum Day, this card is so underrated, even in like non-pure Fiendsmith decks. Like this, it gives you a lot of flexibility, allows you to push for a game, or like this is the main reason you push for game and disrupt your opponent, because like you go sequence into Desiree, into Agnum Day, and then Desiree sends something, you attack with Agnum Day, then you summon back Desiree for, I think it's 6,400 damage. And that's almost lethal, so you only need, because of that, you only need a barrel or an SP to go for game in an open board state. So that was really important. This is definitely one of my favorite cards of the deck. And then, I guess lastly, for Fiendsmith's Lacrima, I very rarely summon this. A lot of times you don't really need to. The only time I really summon this is off a tract. If I need another push, or if like a Light Fiend in hand and one on field, or multiple in hand, then this can be really useful. It gives you different lines and stuff. And depending on what you have in hand, you can actually use Fiendsmith's Lacrima in order to get into both Caesar and Desiree if you have enough Light Fiends. So that happened once a day against Brandon Draco Tail. I did that once. So pretty happy with that portion. Then moving on to some of the more flex spots, I suppose. We'll go into one of my favorite cards. This might be my favorite card, is Constellar M7 Tomi. This card is just I love this card. It's so cool. You can detach one and then target card in your opponent's field, return to hand, or target card in either graveyard and then return to hand. So this allows you to loop hand traps and stuff, or allows you to get back like in a graver if you need to. And then after you do that, then for the next card, you can immediately make a Zeus, blow up your opponent's field or the entire field. And then you can use, if you haven't used Engraver's effect or Trax effects, you can use Engraver, pitch itself, attract, and then do full Fiendsmith stuff right after. So I was really happy with that. Now Typhon is a little bit of a weird one. A lot of the times it just says lose the game, unfortunately. But in this deck, it's really important to have, just because you don't have a lot of pushes, and a lot of the times you enter in a into a grind game state where that's where this card really shines. So you can use this. I don't think it happened at this regional, but you can use this to even bounce your own stuff. Like if you have a Bistio on the field, you can bounce it back to your hand. It just gives you a big body to work with. And you don't really care about the 3,000 attack and above restriction for monsters where they can activate their effects, because a lot of that doesn't really apply to you. I was pretty happy with this. I summoned it a couple times and it helped out a lot. Moving on to the next card, I played Baguska. Only time I summoned this was to make Zeus. I never summoned this in defense. I didn't really need to. If I had to cut a card, this would probably be the one. But I actually didn't need to make this in the last round because my opponent normal summoned Lucius. I used Valor and got lucky. They didn't have another push. And then it went to my turn. I only had the Primite stuff. So I had Barrel into Deputy. And then I needed this so I could run over the Lucius. Otherwise, they could just, run over my Deputy on their turn, and that would have been good. And then what's nice is that while this is an attack, not a lot of people know this because you don't usually have to do this, is that it's untargetable and indestructible. So it makes it really easy to go for a Zeus and force out interaction. Yeah, I was happy that it came up, but you could probably cut this if you wanted to. And then moving for the last two cards, I played one piece of Chaos Angel and SP. Chaos Angel is one of the most important cards in this deck. It gives you so much flexibility. Like you can pair this with like Lacrima or Deputy with a Bestial that's unaffected by monster effects, and your monsters can't be destroyed by battle. You can also use Necroclip to get the Dark attribute for this. Also, like on summon, it just puts a lot of pressure because it's a big body. Like I play against Cool Tune, I attacked them, or I was only really able to make Chaos Angel, so I attacked them, passed back to me, I attacked them again, and then they were able to play a little bit, and then I was able to finish them off with the Lacrima burn, so that did come up once. And then SP, never made it, but I still think you play this. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of times where you can get a extra deck monster to get the banish effect or on summon banish effect. So that's kind of one of the main reasons why it's a little more situational, but I still think you play it. It also means that if you need to go into SP, it puts pressure on your opponent where either they deal with the SP by going to battle, but that means you live and you're more likely to recur your Fiendsmith and Primite stuff. So I still think it's worth playing this. Moving on to the side deck. So I played 2 Ogre in the side. This was the final change I made to my deck list.
You're welcome.
The reason I did this was because it's pretty good against Lunalight and Radiant Typhoon, because this can hit the Continuous Trap mandate, and then this can hit in Lunalight the I keep forgetting the Continuous.
Oh, Masquerade.
Yeah, Masquerade. So this is really efficient against that. There's actually there's one game where I chained Ogre to a monster on the field, and then I chained Valor. Oh, I remember the that one match win against It was for higher canine. That's what it was. So yeah, what was it? They had beat on the field. I think they activated beat. I changed Valor, chain ogre, and that helped me out. Then for the Charmies, I played. Shut up. I played 3 Fua, 2 Perulia. The main reason why I didn't main Fuwas was because you just have so little to work with in the first place for interaction. So if you're going first, it's really important to have hand traps to back up your board, because your board is really easily breakable. Like in a standard Fiendsmith line, all you're ending on is Caesar on the field. That's it. So you really need other pieces of interaction to work with. And if you draw into a dead full loss on your turn, it really hurts. So that was the main reason I didn't play it. Also, it's not necessarily the best against every deck. Obviously, it's a really good card, but I'd rather just reliably have this in the side deck. And then Perulia, the reason I played this was against like Radiant Typhoon, it's really good. And then most other decks, you can get at least 1 or 2 draws. So I use these to draw into board breakers and stuff, and that happened a couple times. And moving into some of my board breakers, I played Harpy's Feather Duster and 3 evenly matched. Couldn't even play this at all. I saw it once, couldn't play it, and then evenly matched. I think I used it once, and it didn't really do much, but that was kind of just the game state I was in. It's kind of debatable whether you play these or not in a Fiendsmith deck. I don't know. It's just kind of awkward because a lot of decks these days have really layered interactions, so they don't just have everything on the field. Like Draco Tail, for example, they have 5 mana with maybe they have Urgula or Pan in hand, and they can go ahead and just blow up your field anyway. But I still think it was pretty worthwhile to play these, even though it didn't really come up. I don't think I would change it personally, but hard to say. So maybe that would be one change I would make. And then for the best cards that I never saw at all was the Psalms. These cards are really good going first. Obviously, you don't have a lot of interaction, so having something that just says no to your opponent for a card also means your opponent can't chain and like drop it or something, because it's a counter trap is really important. Never saw these once, but I would still keep them in here just because they're really good. And then the reason why I played, obviously you play Psalm of Judgment. It's really flexible. You can negate any summon or any spell trap, or any summon as long as it's not an activating effect. But the reason why I played Solemn Warning was because a lot of decks activate the special summon. Think like Soul Canine or Draco Tail. They have a lot of monsters that activate the special, and these trade very favorably. Say like a Jokul, for example, trades really well into this, or a Lantern, or it doesn't trade as favorably into like Draco Tail, just because like the spells, it doesn't really matter if you destroy them. But against like the new Albaz, it's pretty good because they lose the body as well. I was pretty happy with that. So that was my side deck. And then for shoutouts, I definitely gotta thank Adam for choosing that I should main Droll, because I definitely came up against like Radiant Typhoon. I think it happened for a couple other matchups, but that really saved my butt. So I was really happy about that. Shout out to Chaos Cards, the locals I go to, and everyone there. The play testing I did there really helped quite a bit. Just making sure, like, thinking my plays through, knowing the lines, stuff like that, really helped a lot. And then shout out to my cameraman, Sean. Unfortunately, he didn't top, but probably still his luck a little bit. But
A few more coins in the well than I did.
Yeah, I put a lot in there to make sure I did well. But yeah, overall, I was really surprised that I got fourth place. I'm really happy. Um, I played really well. I think I played really well for what I had. I fought. Um, I'll briefly mention Lunalite. Um, I played Lunalite back to back, round 4 and 5, and I fought tooth and nail to win those. It was really hard, knowing exactly, or I haven't played against Lunalite too much, but I had a hand trap in specific situations or against certain cards, and then also just making sure I did my plays properly when we got into a grind state was really important. I was really proud of those games I won. So yeah, I had a lot. I had a good time, made some good trades, and yeah, actually the where is it? The Typhon. I got this one today, so I was really happy about that. Anything else?
You say this is your third ever regional, first time you've ever topped.
Yeah, so this is my third ever regional. I went X2, or wait, no. First one was X3, right?
X3 for your
Yeah, I
first
went
one.
X3 for my first regional. Next one I got X2.
And now X1 on the third one.
X1.
So that means X0 on the next one, right?
Next one, I'll win the regional. So yeah, this last year has been just a game changer, not just for me playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but the fact that I've been going to regionals and stuff. It's been a really fun time. I'm really glad I came. So thank you, Sean. I guess that's it.